So United is basically expanding their international network. They're making a bet that Americans will want to travel overseas. And so that's where the big growth for the industry is going to come from. And so Newark is betting, United is betting on Newark, and they're sort of expanding their international long haul network from Newark, as well as other airports in the US. But given the fact that Newark is obviously one of their biggest international hubs, this is a significant moment for them. And what they're actually doing is they're using an aircraft called the A321XLR, which gives you the economics of a narrow body aircraft. So think of the aircraft that typically you fly domestically, and that's the aircraft they're going to use. But instead, this aircraft can fly for 8 hours over the ocean and essentially offer you the same sort of economics that you would get on a narrow body aircraft without having the risk of having to fill up a big wide body jet like the 777 or the 787 that they typically fly.
So American is betting that Americans will want to travel overseas at a time when the rate of inflation is rising, when airfares are rising, when the economic outlook is uncertain. Is that a good bet?
So United has bet on the fact that there is a huge demand for premium as well as leisure travelers who are sort of well heeled. I mean, they've talked about how the average income for their typical customers is much higher than the typical US airlines. And so United has sort of always bet on these high paying, sort of more affluent customers. And that bet has paid off because they, along with Delta, are the two most profitable airlines in the industry. And that's the sort of bet that United is looking at, where you can sort of add more international routes, sort of get that FOMO traveler, the traveler who wants to go travel to exotic destinations like Valencia and Ibiza in Spain from America. And that's the customer that they're targeting. And with the A321XLR, you have a much smaller plane, so you can fill up that plane much more easily versus a much larger plane.
Is United going to cut back at all on what it offers domestically, as it provides more options for people who want to leave the country, to travel out of the country?
So they said they will not reduce their domestic frequencies as they expand internationally. They're getting these new aircraft like the A321XLR, which will allow them to increase both their US network as well as expand internationally. But they talk about how the significant growth to their network will come from international.
This is Airbus, not Boeing, right?
This is the Airbus A321, yes.
What's wrong with Boeing?
Boeing doesn't really have a product that competes with the A321XLR in terms of being able to have that range that the A321XLR has. It does. Boeing obviously has the 737 MAX, the MAX 8, the MAX 9, the MAX 10. But obviously, the MAX 10 hasn't yet been certified, and it also doesn't have that same range that the XLR offers. And so there is this aircraft that Airbus has in a niche that doesn't really have a rival Boeing product. I mean, the 757 was the nearest competitor, but that was phased out years ago. And so there isn't really a direct competitor that Boeing currently offers to the market.